I'm here. I don't think there's too many people interested in this today. I think you guys have got a busy day, and if I hadn't suddenly realized what day it was and what time it was, I wouldn't have shown up either. It's one of those crazy days. Just trying to get myself acclimated to the great north again, and I can say that I'm not doing that well. I'm pretty tired today. So I'm going to go ahead and read this today. I'll wait for a few minutes and see if anybody pops on, and it's okay. I can look in my face and see how. Ew, I don't know if I'm ready for this today or not. We'll figure something out. We'll read it, and then if anybody wants to join me and just chat, that's okay. You can ask questions, or we'll just kind of talk like we normally do. And if nobody pops on, that's totally okay. I'm going to go ahead and read the chapter and tell you what was going through my head when I wrote it, because I feel like for me it's significant. And for some reason, every week when we do these groups, I learn again from reading this book. It was really very much channeled, even though it's got a lot of imperfections. When I was writing them, I would go to a quiet place, usually by the lake or in a park, someplace that was quiet, and I would just start with one little theme, and all of a sudden it would come rolling out. And half the time I didn't even know where it came from, most of the time, more than half, pretty much all the time. I didn't even know where the little stories came from. I don't know why they just kind of flowed the way that they did, but they did. And every time I read these chapters, I'll gain something from them, because I don't feel like my conscious self was really necessarily the author. It was more something in here. So it speaks to me differently every time I read it. And I think that's really incredible, the way the universe works. That we can channel, we can get these messages, we can put them out, and that we can continue to learn from the things that we're trying to teach. So I enjoy this reading group, because when people pop on here and you guys talk about the subject matter or anything that you have going on in your life, I feel like I gain every time. So I'm pretty well grounded now. I've worked on that for a few minutes. I'm feeling pretty good. And slow down and breathe for a minute. I'm going to go ahead and read this. The second part, to me, speaks in volumes. It was really important to me. This chapter is really important to all of us as light workers, empaths, sensitives, whatever you want to call yourself. It's a really important chapter. So I'm not going to skip it. You know, we can talk about it more next week if for some reason you guys don't catch me this time. I know there's a lot of things going on, and it's okay to be busy. We can't always do this, but I'll probably cut it short today, and we'll go ahead and read it. And then next week, if we want to continue on this one chapter, we can go ahead and talk about it together, because I think it's really important to us. But I don't want to leave you guys high and dry today, so I think I'll read it anyway, discuss it a little bit. So I'll put up with my sleepy face, whatever else I got going on from that jet lag. Okay, so today is the anchor. This one's near and dear to me too, because I do this all the time. The anchor is not a one-time thing. We do this to ourselves all the time. So as I read it, you'll probably recognize yourself in this. I know I do. You are not just any pirate. You are a pirate king or queen. You hold treasures beyond measure. You have sorted through them and gathered them, and you have filled many trunks. Your only problem is that you have dropped your anchor, and it is holding you back. It is time to pull up your anchor and allow your ship to glide freely through the sea. How many times have you called out to God to show you the way to your treasure, and then something happened to push your ship to a distant shore? Often the winds went still, and your ship floated helplessly on open seas, and you feared that you may never find your way. The truth is, most of us look at this life the wrong way. We play the victim as the wind and the waves take us through life. The only way we can find our treasure is to look at all the life's adventures as filled with purpose. This is how we find out that all of that buried treasure we are seeking. That was almost right. This is how we find all of that buried treasure that we are seeking. We must stop playing the role of victim, and realize that everything that happens in this life is nothing more than an experience. Often the most painful experiences are the ones that serve the greatest purpose. You are a powerful creator. You have the power to change all that is negative in your life, but you must change the way you're looking, the way you're seeing your experiences. With only your imagination and intent, you have the ability to change your ship's direction. Your treasure lies within you. Nothing holds you back from it but your own negative emotions and beliefs. Every day, take the time to pull up your anchor and allow your ship to flow freely through the water. The most important thing you will ever learn is that your life does not require you to be in complete control. When you finally learn to pull up the anchor and let go, you will find that it isn't as important to just find your treasure as it is to enjoy the journey along the way. The captain's log, this is the part that I really like. Life is not supposed to be constantly comfortable. It is in those discomforts that push us to step out into the unknown. That is where we find that we aren't fully living until we grab on to those fears that have been holding us back and then use them to launch us into the greatest adventures we will ever know. Learn to look at your fears and discomforts as if they're something that is meant to push you out of your comfort zone. If life was always comfortable, we would have no reason to come here in the first place. Every single experience that we have had has meaning and purpose. When we let go of the idea that we are helpless victims and realize that we each have unlimited power, we will realize that there is no reason to hold ourselves back. Begin a practice of letting go of your fears. Step out boldly and confidently into the unknown. When you can't see the whole picture, even when you can't see the whole picture, it is still better to take a chance than it is to just sit still. Oh, sorry, this is a new book. Than it is to just sit still in fear. You aren't going to fall off into the unknown. There will always be a safe place to land. This life is meant to be lived to the fullest. The unknown isn't so scary once you allow yourself to just let go and fall into it. You are brave and powerful. Pull up your anchor and allow yourself to live the greatest adventure you have ever known. I'm reading that today. It's actually the chapter that came up today, which I think is really cool because I'm in that same space myself again. Like big choices to make and stepping out into the unknown. Do I want to sit where it's comfortable, or do I want to let go of my fear and step out and let myself just relax into it without the worries? Can I allow myself to freely create this life as it's coming at me, to feel powerful and not feel like this little victim that's afraid, that little girl that had issues growing up, or the abused housewife, or the grieving widow. Can I step out of those roles and step into the role of powerful creator? Can you step out of those roles, those negative roles that you've had all your life? Can you step out of that and step into the idea that you are powerful and magnificent, and that you have the ability to create a beautiful life, and that in everything, even when stressful situations pop up, you realize that you have a power within you that you can use to rise above, to still find love, to still find joy, to find purpose, to find just your true north, the beauty in your life, even when things feel kind of dark and it's kind of hard to see it sometimes. It's there. It's always there. The waters rushing around underneath sometimes look scary and they look cold, and you're afraid to just step out there and test them. You don't even want to put your toe in there. But guess what happens when you realize how powerful you are? You no longer have that fear of the unknown. You start to just say, you know what? Whatever it is, just bring it. Just bring it. I have those moments. I've had those moments. And in those moments is when I can see the greatest changes take place. I know I have evidence in my life that I am a powerful creator, that I can change my existence. And when I pull myself out of that small self, that little piece of me that is kind of damaged by the wind and the waves, when I pull myself out of that role and I climb up, rise up above it all, and I let go of my victimization piece of me, and I look down at it as if I'm a creator and not a victim, I can see every step of the way all of the things that I thought were mistakes, or the things that I've run from, or that I've tried to bury. I can see where all of those were simply steps to bring me to where I am today. And what's happening today, even though it may not be perfect, there's still steps that are leading me to something greater all the time. I could sit around and be sad and be this little grieving housewife, or I can say, you know what? Steve did not leave me in death. He gave himself fully to me in life and in death. And he opened the door to me to have a brand new existence. And so I feel his strength and his love, from the other side, that source energy. And I know that every step of the way, as long as I'm on this planet, even in those moments when I feel really tired and just, wishing that I just didn't have to struggle, even in those moments, I know I can rise above it. I can rise above it, and I can create something beautiful for myself. And so that's my message in this chapter as we were writing it. The message is that sometimes all the time, in everything, you have two choices. You can choose love or you can choose fear. And as long as you sit in fear, you will be frozen. You're like that little deer that's, the jaguar is running at it and it freezes. It knows it's about to die. And it's simply a natural instinct is to, you got fight, flight, or freeze. One of those. And typically we freeze. We let the fear start to pile on top of us to the point where we no longer can fight. We no longer flee. We just freeze. We just sit still. We're getting nowhere. Somehow it makes us feel safe. We're numb. We still have those instincts back from, when early man, that fight, flight, or freeze. We've all heard about the fight and the flight, I'm sure. A lot of us have suffered PTSD, and we know that we can either get angry and we can start fighting, or we can run away from it. Many of us don't even think about the fact that we also might freeze, but that's actually a part of our natural instinct. And when we freeze, it's just holding us back. So it's really about letting go of those old instincts, those old things that in a part of us, our nature, wants to push us into doing. If we can step out of that, don't freeze. Don't allow yourself to freeze. Let that jaguar come. Let it come. Whatever happens, let life roll at you. Don't be afraid of it. Because when you're not afraid of it, it would be better for you to run away than it would be to freeze. It would be better for you to fight than it is to freeze. You put that emotion in there. We can't always be happy, happy, joyful, joyful. It doesn't work that way. We're human beings. But emotion pushes us forward. We don't freeze. And I need that reminder myself today. When I sit and I look at all the things, it's kind of daunting. The changes that are going on in my life and all the things that I carry on my shoulders. I can stop and I can just start nitpicking and picking up all that scary stuff, and then I can just stand here and go, I don't even know what to do with all this. And I can freeze up. Or I can get kind of angry even, or just settle into the love that I've got in my life, whatever kind of emotion I can pull out of myself. And sometimes all I can pull out is anger. I was really angry this morning. I didn't take it out on anybody. I just got in the car and started yelling, because it's better than freezing. It's better than freezing. Let the emotion out. Go ahead and just, if you feel like you're going to run, go to a beach someplace, go put on your running shoes and run if you have to. Go sit in nature if you have to. Punch a punching bag. Get angry if you have to. Go out by yourself and scream, whatever. But don't freeze. Don't let yourself freeze. Don't get so afraid that you just freeze up and you don't make forward progress. Because it's always going to be okay. It's always, keep reminding yourself of that. That little child in you needs to hear that. It is always going to be okay. Whatever you decide to do, it is only experience. They are only experiences. If other people are looking at you and they're going, wow, that was a really dumb thing to do, don't even pay attention to them. I got plenty of those things in my life where I can say, wow, that was a really dumb thing to do. Guess what? It led me to who I am today. And the decisions that I'm making today may not always be the best decisions in other people's eyes, but it's still my decision to make. I have free will and free choice, and I can mold this life into whatever I want. But what I never want to do is sit still and be afraid to do anything. You have to do something. You have to step into this role that you've got and live this life every second of it. Just keep breathing it in, because that's where you find your treasure. That's where you find your true north, is when you step out of fear and you move forward with whatever emotion comes with it. Let it come. Bring it on. It's all going to be okay. In the end, it is all okay. And I think that's really all I have for you today. I'd like to discuss this with you girls and see, and Guy, see what you feel about this chapter, but that's where I was coming from when I wrote it. That's where I am today. And it's an important place for me to be today. So I wanted to remind myself of that as much as you all. This is my time for you to just kind of remind you that you're going to be okay. It's always going to be okay. And everything in life is just an experience. You're just in school. You're just learning. Allow yourself to learn. Don't be afraid. There's nothing to be afraid of. Have a beautiful week. I might catch up to you again sometime this week and see if you want to meet at a later time. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and sign off. And you guys can just, if you put any questions in the chat room or any comments, I'll discuss them with you. If you want to instant message me, that's fine too. Have a beautiful week. I love you. Bye.